Gonna make sure my phone is on silent. Gonna pretend to be a professional.
In theory. And the remainder of the day to you, sir. We already got us a top of the morning from Sergeant Major with first blood.
Okay, that's...
It's never enough.
Sometimes it's enough. Button.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
How we doing?
Well, you know, I was checking us over on the monitor and everything, and I realized the internet makes zits live forever.
Do it now.
Do what?
It do. Yes.
Oh, yeah. So it's funny. I see Alex and Danny in the chat. I've been having to catch their show on replay just because I've been working so much, and like last night I was just smoked, man. But I almost stayed up and tried to watch it because apparently Alex was gonna scientifically point out that bitches literally be crazy. And I just could see the eye rolls from Danny.
I was wiped out when I got home and did my uploads last night, so I missed it. But pennies to pesos, he's talking about the new study out of Pew Research that shows that more than 50% of women between, I think it's the ages of 19 and 30, who identify as liberal, have been told by a medical professional that they have a mental disability or mental illness.
Yeah, still gonna be funny.
Self-reporting.
Still lots of eye rolls from Danny, who we love, by the way. Alex we tolerate, but we love Danny.
Absolutely.
Anyhow.
Absolutely.
So, it's Firearms Friday, man.
Indeed.
Just rolls off the tongue.
It does. It feels good to say it.
Right? Now, you and I both work on Saturdays, so everybody else is like, you made it to Friday. I'm like...
Yeah, well, you made it to something. You made it to this show, and we appreciate the hell out of that.
Right. Right, and then, of course, Pit Danny hits us with the obligatory liberalism is a mental illness. Yes.
It is. It is.
Though
and that's not just a clever talking point.
Though I think for young people, if you're a young, empathetic person and you have a highly developed sense of justice, I could see going through a liberal phase for a lot of people. But then, you know, once you get older and you have bills and children and, you know, just want to pay your mortgage on time and don't want drag queens telling kids it ain't gonna lick itself, suddenly you tend to track the other direction. It's weird how that works.
Yeah, so...
And it's St. Patty's Day. Okay, I think it's all the house cleaning, right?
So, Cameron brought this guy, JD Delay, to my attention this morning, and...
JD, I think he's hysterical, for one. And to be clear...
He shouts a lot.
He does.
I mean, I'm here for it. I'm good.
I was about to say, he does. He does. Oh.
Bone so he's ready.
Right. And to be clear, JD Delay has 58 felony convictions.
Jesus.
Okay.
So, you know what?
He used to do meth, okay? And then he used to sell meth to fund his meth habit. And then he got into identity fraud to fund his meth operation. And did a few years in prison, unsurprisingly enough.
I'm actually going to back this video up all the way to the beginning. I've got 2 time hashes marked down here, but I'm going to let him do his intro.
Okay.
Wonder what criminals think about gun control? Criminals think about gun control? Because it seems to me like being able to protect yourself from criminals is one of the key elements and components to this argument that we all seem to be having. So being able to understand that criminal mindset might give you a little bit of insight that might sway you in one direction or the other. Even though I think this is one of those topics that most people already have their minds well made up before they even watch the video, it should be interesting. From a retired career criminal, let's go!
His hat says 1 pedo, 1 bullet.
Yeah, I'm pretty okay with this guy. So I was about to say, no, he's not wearing clothes, Alex. He definitely had his shirt off to show off all them prison tats for a minute.
He is wearing clothes now, though.
But basically the premise here is this guy's going to be talking. He calls himself a retired career criminal. So he's somebody who did a bunch of crimes, 58 criminal convictions. There's some felony convictions in there. He does not have the right to keep and bear arms. He's had that right stripped from him. He does talk about that a little bit in the video, but that's not the part of what we're here for. What he does now apparently is he does rehabilitation facilitation. He's got his whole, I have
he went through. He's still currently on house arrest. He went through rehab,
right,
and now works for the rehab facility. And basically, you say, "Hey, don't do meth. It will ruin your life." I know. I've seen me do it.
So
right?
He's not going to say anything new that we haven't talked about before in this argument, but he's going to say it as somebody. He's going to be talking about it kind of from the other side of the conversation, because he's somebody who has actually thought about it as a criminal committing crimes. And we want to hear a little bit about how he's going to phrase some of this stuff. It's interesting.
First off, to get into this gun control issue, I want to give you the perspective of a criminal, like a real-life career criminal, when it comes to should people be allowed to own guns. I can tell you from my experience, I was much more concerned about an armed citizen just murking me while I'm out committing crimes in their home or their neighborhood than I was about the cops. And I'll tell you why right now. Order a pizza or call 911. See which gets to you quicker. It's going to be the pizza, I promise. The only upside being a criminal to having armed citizens is that you might be able to get to their guns before they do. You might be able to get their guns when they're at home. You might be able to steal their guns. That's literally it. But if you have citizens that are unarmed, and you are, because criminals don't care what gun laws you pass, we will still find guns. We will get guns. We will make guns if we need to. We will be armed. Criminals do not care about breaking the law. I don't understand why that's so hard for everybody to understand.
Criminals do not care about breaking the law. That's a great big no shit Sherlock, right? I'm tempted to give him the comment of the day, right? And he pointed out, we'll steal them, we'll buy them illegally, we will make them. Criminals will have guns.
Oh, yeah. Look, if you have rimfire ammunition, a hammer, and a nail, you have a gun.
Yeah.
Like, it's not,
and
not
Alex,
one you want to shoot, but...
Alex says, so he's a POS. I'm going to give this guy the benefit of the doubt and say he was a POS. I do believe in redemption arcs. I don't necessarily believe in giving people a bunch of second chances, but I am pretty comfortable. God damn it.
Anyhow, redemption arcs, yes. Look, we should just move on now that your dad blew it up.
You broke me, Dad. You broke me. Now I'm just going to be walking around the farm with my dork hanging out, shooting alligator turtles with an M4. Hey, but Alex Bleepin Jones joined us this morning. I haven't seen you in a hot damn minute, brother. It's good to see you this morning. All right. Yeah, completely broke my train of thought.
Redemption arcs. If the guy was a drug addict and went further and further down the hole to feed his addiction, and then said, you know what, I'm gonna stop doing meth because apparently it's turned me into a real piece of shit. So, I mean, anyhow. So
he's one method away from victimizing your family. No, Alex, he's one method away from victimizing someone else's family. Let's be real clear on that, because my door is not the one you want to knock on at the wrong time of day. That's part of why we do this show, because we want your door to also be not the one he wants to knock on. And in fact, that's the next thing that he's going to talk about right here, which is a big part of the reason we even brought this video up this morning to begin with.
Armed citizen, like the average everyday armed citizen, going to be a great shot? Probably not. Do a lot of criminals go out and actually practice and use proper gun procedures? Some of us did, some of us didn't. I personally was someone who knew how to use a firearm. But either way, it was a much scarier prospect than someone getting on their phone and being like, hello, 911, I need help right now. Let me just give you an example of this type of situation, man. There was a house and it had a big sign up in the front that said, this house protected by Smith & Wesson. Probably not trying to go into that house. They are armed and they are proud. They are ready to go. But somebody with a sign in their front yard promoting a gun control law, you know that's a green light. You've got to keep in mind that criminals, most of them are opportunists. They want the path of least resistance. If they see something shiny and they think they can get away with it, they're probably going to run that crime. So,
and path of least resistance, see something shiny. Criminals are opportunists and children. Part of what keeps a person as a career criminal is the inability to mature past that early stage of selfish sociopathy. Right? Yeah. Have you met Eleanor?
yes,
She wants her shit. And she
Right
will
now.
tell you.
right now,
And she will step on your foot.
right now.
No, Daddy, I hate nap times. I don't like hugs. Oh, baby girl, you are so sleepy. I'm never sleepy. I don't get sleepy. Oh, honey, come here.
Okay.
And no, I mean, well, like in his case, he talked about he did meth, right?
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
that's
yeah.
one of those things. It's long documented that one essentially stops maturing emotionally and intellectually when they first start doing hard drugs. And that's one of the things that keeps a person from developing a sense of value, a sense of responsibility, a sense of, or hell, even a basic understanding of the utilization of delayed gratification coupled with the trade of labor for wages, or value for wages, or just value for products. That eternal, that kind of creates that eternal victimhood status, that eternal victimhood mindset that causes a person to be a criminal. Hurt people.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Anyhow, I happened to stumble across Mr. JD Delay here, and
I never got a chuckle out of him a little bit.
got a chuckle, and then it's like, oh man, here's an actual criminal saying the quiet part out loud. Be like, you have a gun control sign in your yard? That's a green light. I was like, well, okay, there you go.
Yeah. It might as well say, come in, the valuables are upstairs. So, you want to pick up this first one?
Yes.
Because this one kind of drives his point home. So, our first DGU this morning.
Oakley dokley. Robber shot in chest while holding CPL holders for... I hate that kind of language. outside Detroit. Well, it's from Detroit, so there you go. Armed robber demands CPL holder's wallet while pointing gun at CPL? Concealed permit license?
I'm not sure.
Is that supposed to be like a... whatever. Detroit police... Okay, that's just the
concealed pistol license?
An armed robber was shot in the chest while holding a CPL holder's friend at gunpoint so he could steal a wallet outside of a Detroit store. The shooting happened at 9:53 p.m. February 8th, but the details of the incident were revealed March 10th in a criminal complaint. On February 8th, Shot Spotter detected 3 gunshots in the parking lot of Carmen's Delicatessen in Detroit. Police officers rushed to the scene and were flagged down by 2 people, they said. One man approached the officers with his hands over his head and told them he owns a concealed pistol's license.
Yep.
He owns a concealed pistol license. He said he had fired a shot in self-defense while being robbed outside the store. The man told police that he and his friend had gone to the store that night and noticed an old man and a young man talking outside. The younger man was wearing a blue Detroit Lions jacket and a ski mask. He was later identified.
Honestly, they should have just shot him right then.
I mean, this is Detroit.
Oh, that's a criminal. He's waiting to rob me. Let's go ahead and solve that problem before we go buy our beer.
He was later identified as Joshua Fordham, the criminal complaint says, when the CPL holder and his friend... When the armed citizen and his friend went inside...
The American.
There we go. Fordham and the older man followed them, according to the authorities, as they left the store and walked to their car. Fordham continued to follow, court records show. Fordham began arguing with the 2 men and threatened to kill the armed citizen holder's friend. While the armed citizen didn't give up everything he had, the armed citizen handed Ford his wallet, the complaint said. While holding a black semi-automatic handgun in one hand, Fordman patted down the armed citizen holder with the other, according to the police. As he was being patted down, the armed citizen pulled out his gun and fired a shot, authorities said. Detroit police said they found Fordham lying on the ground west of the store with a gunshot wound to his chest. A loaded black handgun, later identified as a Ruger, was on the ground nearby, according to officials. It appeared to have suffered a malfunction. Whoops.
Wait, so the criminal's gun malfunctioned?
Whoops.
All right. This is...
That's,
Oh. It sounded like he found out. And what he found out is that maintenance matters.
Dude, gun oil is cheap, dude.
It is. Clean your gun, son. Clean your gun.
You know, like the first gun cleaning kit I ever bought, I bought from Walmart for like $17.
Yeah, something like that.
I know those days are long gone, but just the same, gun oil is cheap, bruh. It just is. And then, man, like hostage situation, you already have the wallet. Like, take the dub, go home, right?
Alex McDonald, don't carry a high point. Maybe I need a Captain Obvious award too. But yeah,
yeah. Why are high points so cheap? Well,
you get what you pay for.
They work most of the time. What do you mean by most of the time? I mean exactly that.
Not the time you need them to. That's what I mean.
Anyhow.
Yeah, let's just move on from that one. Ooh, I like this. I like this headline. Jogger claims self-defense after fatally shooting dog in Nevada neighborhood. Vegas dog. This might not be fun. A dog was shot and killed in a Henderson neighborhood over the weekend by the jogger who shot the dog claims self-defense. The shooting happened on Sunday afternoon near Green Valley and Warm Springs. Excuse me. The neighbor who shot the dog spoke on the phone to Fox 5. Ring video captured the moments and sound when the 2-year-old boxer Pickle was shot 3 times. It was a very scary experience of one of the dog's owners who did not want to be identified. It was such a nice day outside. It was very unexpected. Purposely pulled out your gun, purposely shot right next to me after you hear me begging and pleading, please stop, said one of the dog's owners. The family described the emotional moments of losing their puppy after they say they were just out enjoying the day in the front yard.
2 years old? That's not a puppy anymore if it's 2 years old. It stops being a puppy after 2 years old, I assure you.
A man walks past in the street. He is walking his dog, and my dog got excited and ran, and the leash snapped because it got stuck under the tire, said one of the dog's owners. My dog and his dog, it looked like they were fighting, one of the dog's owners said. I will give him that. He kept pulling the leash, and while pulling the leash and that wrestling, I just see him pulling and his arm go behind his back, and I see him pull out the gun. The dog did not survive, leaving the family heartbroken. There was no pause between shooting and getting a reaction, they said. It was 0 to 100. He died protecting me, and it is not fair because he came in a time in my life that was really dark. Okay.
What in the fuck is going on with this article?
This writing is just awful.
Now, to be fair, they could just be quoting the people on the scene. And if you're the kind of person that's like, I don't understand why you shot my pit bull, I could see you having a hard time putting sentences together.
Yeah.
And look, that's no judgment, okay? I understand there's this whole thing about should people be allowed to own pit bulls or not. I'm not wading into that. I'm just saying, if you are a pit bull owner and your pit bull gets shot,
McDonald says the dog's name was McMichael. No, Alex, I think the dog's name might have been Arbery. We obtained a copy of the Henderson police report written by the responding officer. It states, due to the fact the other neighbor discharged his firearm in self-defense because he was in fear for his and his dog's safety and the attack was unprovoked, I am unable to determine probable cause for a crime. Yeah. So, oh, McMichael, the dog out there harassing joggers.
Come on, man, it's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny. He's being a cheeky shite, but it's funny.
I get it.
Notice I said shite, not shit.
I did notice that.
He was never aggressive, except for this time.
Right. I mean,
okay.
That guy that broke into your house and got shot in the doorway.
Oh, he'd never done that before. That was the only time he ever broke into somebody's house.
Well, even if he had done it a few times before, it was just once or twice. You know, maybe just 5 or 6 times. I mean, the guy's been alive for thousands of days.
No, look, and
yes, the lesson here is control your dog.
Well, look, and let's be clear, okay? Let's write this, or let's take what we know about this case and slightly rewrite it. A man was out jogging with his dog when a pit bull broke its leash and came and appeared to attack him and his dog. And as him and his dog were being attacked, the man drew his pistol and shot the pit bull. Same story.
Yep.
It's just that, you can always tell.
But in that story, it's automatically okay.
And you know what this could just be? This could be a misunderstanding, okay? My brother has bred pit bulls, and some of those were just the sweetest dogs. They were terrifying looking, but they were big, giant teddy bears. And so I get it. Like, I really do. But at the same time, like, if a dog breaks a leash and comes tearing after you, no. Like, that's one of those things where it's like, okay, perception definitely equals reality in that situation. If I find out later that your dog was actually just a big sweetheart, I'll feel bad. But that doesn't mean I made the wrong choice in the moment.
Right.
Like I don't know if you've ever heard some of some of them dogs bark and you can, like, feel the ground vibrate. Like, that's pretty intimidating, okay? That is, woo!
Okay. Let's I'm gonna let you
with
read
like
this
14
one.
more O's.
I'll let you read this one, and we're gonna wrap it up here.
Okay. Pierce County prosecutors decided Thursday not to charge former Seattle Sonic star Sean Kemp, pending further investigation by Tacoma police into a shooting reported Wednesday near the Tacoma Mall. Kemp's attorney said Thursday that he fired in self-defense. No injuries were reported. Okay. I mean, no injuries were reported. That means he missed. The six-time All-Star, who was booked into the Pierce County Jail just before 6 p.m. Wednesday on investigation of drive-by shooting, was released. Okay. Was released at 1 p.m. Thursday, jail records show. Under Washington law, people booked into jail must be released if prosecutors do not file charges within 72 hours, not counting weekends or holidays. Prosecutors are ethically bound to not file charges unless they believe they have evidence to prove a charge to a jury beyond a I thought that was the Constitution, but okie dokie. Tacoma police responded to a report of gunfire in a parking lot on South Steele Street, according to a police tweet near the Tacoma Mall just before 2 p.m. Wednesday. Officers determined that there had been an altercation between people in two vehicles. One of the drivers fired several rounds at people in the other vehicle, which left the scene. Officers found and arrested a 53-year-old man who police say fired the shots, and they recovered a firearm, police say. A Pierce County Sheriff's spokesperson later confirmed that the man arrested was Kemp. Kemp's personal attorney, W. Scott Boatman, that's a name,
right,
said in a statement on Twitter Thursday that Kemp's vehicle had been broken into late Tuesday, and he tracked his stolen iPhone to an occupied vehicle in a parking lot. When Mr. Kemp approached the vehicle in an attempt to retrieve his stolen property, individuals inside the vehicle shot at Mr. Kemp, who then returned fire in self-defense, Boatman said in a statement. There was not a drive-by shooting as previously reported, and Mr. Kemp's actions were reasonable and legally justified. Kemp has since retained Seattle criminal defense attorneys Tim Leary and Aaron Kiviat to represent him. The attorneys met with him Thursday before learning prosecutors would not file charges immediately. Mr. Kemp is a pillar of the community, and he's not going anywhere. He was the one who stuck around
and spoke with police while the other individuals fled. That's actually a pretty good indicator of who was right and who was wrong.
Yeah. Is there I don't care about his basketball career in this case, and that's what
or the fact that he opened a marijuana dispensary in 2020.
Yeah, like none of that.
Hey, good for him.
No, did he file a police report for the stolen property? Like that would be that might be the one thing that a district attorney could reasonably look at and be like, well, then how come you didn't?
And even then, without a timeline, like it says, how did it phrase it? Kemp's vehicle had been broken into late Tuesday. Okay, his vehicle had been broken in Tuesday, and he tracked his stolen iPhone to an occupied vehicle in the parking lot.
So he flipped on Find My iPhone and like literally had Dick Tracy watch going on.
Right.
And tracked his phone down.
So yeah, I would be interested to know.
And then went
right around there if he had already contacted the police and filed a report related to the breaking and entering of his vehicle. But otherwise, it sounds solid. In fact, I'm inclined to suspect that he operated correctly and within the confines of the law and was 100% right and justified on the mere evidence presented that a media outlet ran a headline suggesting that he conducted a drive-by.
You know what Scott Adams said a couple of weeks ago?
That a media outlet made a statement means that the opposite is the truth.
Yeah, Scott Adams said a week ago that, and I found this really interesting, said anytime the news reports about a thing, even if parts of it are false, it tends to be true. But anytime the news reports on a person, even if parts of it are false, even if parts of it are true, it tends to be false.
Right.
And so I'm 100% with you. And I think this is a situation where I don't think he did anything wrong. Okay. But it might have been stupid.
It may have been ill-advised.
Right? Now, I'd be okay with living in a world where people just took better care of themselves and were more in charge of their own self-defense. That world would not bother me a bit.
So abolish the police.
No,
we don't have time for that rabbit hole.
that's not what I was going to say.
I'm just cracking the joke.
Look, well, and here's the deal. It's kind of like what we talked about with Kyle Rittenhouse. Like, that wasn't smart, but he wasn't wrong either. You know, like, who's going to protect the community? Obviously not the police.
Correct.
Right? Obviously not the government. You know, but no problem. We'll just do millions of dollars in property damage, and God knows how many people got hurt. And they were like literally letting sex offenders out of the nuthatch to go riot. I mean, that is like some bizarre Clockwork Orange level shit there. So I don't know. Like, was it ill-advised? Yes. Was he wrong? No. No, you break into somebody's car and steal their phone. You're wrong. So, anyhow.
So yeah, that's. I think that's all we've got time for this morning. So, in the interest of, you know, I mean, it's St. Patrick's Day, going into the weekend. Got your green shirt on. Little pitch for Cameroon with his black jacket. It's fair. It's fine. But
how do you know my underwear is not green?
I have my suspicions. But I'm not interested in confirmation. And besides, they can't see your camouflage pants, so the joke stands. Anyway, you're going to be tempted to go out there and get stupid, get shitty, get drank. Don't drive drink. Don't piss in the river.
Right.
Right? 2,200 people will be arrested for public urination in Savannah, Georgia, tonight. Guaranteed. So be safe out there, and pro tip, go ahead and take reasonable safety precautions this morning, right? Oil your weapon and clean your toilet. You just might have to put your head in there later.
And as much as I love all things guns, whiskey and guns, probably not a good combination.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Leave the pistol. Leave the pistol. Right? Maybe break it out tomorrow night when you need to figure out how to dispose of all those empty bottles.
Right.
Line them up on that picket fence and go to work. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow. Monday.